We begin with breaking news tonight here on KOAM. Out of Baxter Springs, a heavy police presence in the area of 5th and Willow. Now, KOAM's Shannon Becker is on the scene. What we do know is that Joplin SWAT is also on the scene at this time. Right now, that's unfortunately all the information that we do have. Again, KOAM does have Shannon Becker on the scene. We'll have more details on this breaking story as it develops on KOAMnewsnow.com and with the KOAM News app. Around 5:40 last night, Barton County Sheriff's deputies responded to a shooting in Liberal. A man at a home near Ingersoll and Walser called 911 saying he had been shot. The victim was transported to an area hospital by helicopter for treatment. Officials say they have a person of interest who left the scene. They have not released the name of the victim or the person of interest at this time. Everyone deserves to be in a relationship that is safe and loving, but unfortunately, that isn't always the case. Domestic abuse can happen to anyone, so Pittsburgh State students hosted a workshop to inform other students of signs to look out for in their own relationships. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us how that is helping students navigate their own relationships.
Silence promotes violence, so Pittsburgh State is bringing awareness to domestic abuse and getting victims the help they need.
Although we like to see the good in our communities, ignoring the bad doesn't make it go away. Therefore, Silence Promotes Violence was born.
I wanted it to be something that the community can enjoy and learn from, something that is a need within our community of Pittsburgh and surrounding communities.
Jacqueline Boucher is a senior at Pitt State and says she wanted fellow students in the community to have a better understanding of domestic violence and what healthy relationships are supposed to look like.
What keeps victims usually in the victim position is that a lot of the times they don't know what they're experiencing. It's not, oh, I'm loving someone that's difficult to love, which is what they might think. And this is partly because no one is talking about it. A lot of people I know, I didn't.
Boucher teamed up with Pitt State's Students for Violence Prevention organization.
We love talking about this stuff and we love educating our fellow students and just helping people become aware.
DeMoss says these conversations are essential, especially on a college campus.
People come and they get in their first real relationship. They might not know how a relationship's supposed to work, and if they don't know, then they don't know those signs from healthy to unhealthy to abusive.
They hope the tools students learn on Saturday can help them recognize it if it happens to them.
My age group isn't talking about it, and 18 to 24-year-olds are the most at risk for domestic violence. Silence promotes violence is just, hey, this shouldn't be something we're afraid to talk about. This should be something we're afraid of happening.
In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Now, participants also learned self-defense from a local dojo, heard from a victim's advocate, as well as a local detective. Pittsburgh Parks and Rec Department hosted the first Kids Garage Sale event of the year. Kids and families were able to sell items and learn important life and customer service skills. One pair out selling lemonade with strawberry boba was Rebecca Patcher and Shyler Stevens. They were paired together as a part of Kansas Big Brothers Big Sisters. Patcher says it's a valuable experience.
So originally we saw that it was a kids sale and we thought it would be perfect for them to come out, and where the money that we make is going to be put towards another activity that we can do with them. And they've just been having a great time, but they're also learning skills at the same time. How do you ask them when they walk by? What do you say?
Excuse me.
What do you ask them?
Do you want some lemonade?
Do you want some lemonade?
Now, Shyler says his favorite part of the day was making the lemonade. NEO is hosting its annual crafts fair. It features over 50 vendors selling items ranging from jewelry to instruments. Vendors can pay just an entry fee to get in, and they get to keep what they earn. The entry fees, though, go towards opportunities for students such as scholarships, study abroad trips, and more.
Here being in Northeast Oklahoma, we don't always get a lot of visitors, so it's nice when we can have people from all over the 4 states come in. This event has really benefited students over the years because the funds raised go directly to support student opportunities on campus.
12 students will be able to go on study abroad trips thanks to today's fair. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has now entered its second month, with setbacks mounting and civilians suffering. Today, Russian forces targeted western Ukrainian city of Lviv. CBS's Imtiaz Tiab is there.
Russian missiles streak across the sky, targeting a fuel depot and sending a roiling cloud of black smoke into the air. Well, we heard a series of loud explosions, and as you can see, Vladimir Putin's war is now squarely on Lviv's doorstep. At least 5 people were injured in the attack just 2 miles from the center of the city, terrifying residents who have largely been spared the brutal violence seen across so much of Ukraine, as Russian forces carried out a series of other long-range missile strikes. The attacks follow an announcement by Russian generals the Kremlin would be shifting focus from its ground offensive aimed at Kyiv to instead prioritizing what Moscow calls the liberation of the contested eastern Donbass region. And while it doesn't yet look as if Vladimir Putin is changing his approach to the war on Ukraine, what's clear are the Kremlin's military miscalculations. Russian tanks just outside the capital Kyiv now burnt out wrecks of twisted metal, as Ukrainian forces continue to fight back with an intensity few expected. But as the war continues to inflict widespread horror, it's children who suffer the most. Just 1 month into Russia's invasion, and over half of all kids across Ukraine, 4.3 million of them, have had to flee their homes. Many internally displaced families have found shelter in schools. At one in Lviv, we met 13-year-old Anastasia, who lives here with her dad and little brother. I come from Melitopol, where there are lots of Russian soldiers, she says. It took us 2.5 days by train just to get here. Anastasia says the hardest thing about leaving home was saying goodbye to her grandmother.
Things are really tough right now, but you're still smiling.
I don't know how, she says. I think I do it for my dad. A strength being asked of too many of Ukraine's most vulnerable. Imtiaz Tiab, CBS News, Lviv.
We take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Staff Sergeant George Harris served in the Army during Vietnam. His hometown, Iola. We're proud to recognize Staff Sergeant George Harris, tonight's four-state hero. And of course, to learn more about other heroes or nominate one of your own at any time, you can do that at KOAMnewsnow.com. Coming up, a messaging app makes an agreement with a Brazilian court to help fight potential election fake news. Plus, a new Florida law adds financial learning to high school education requirements. A messaging app makes an agreement with a Brazilian court to help fight potential election fake news. Telegram signed an agreement on Friday to help counter misinformation in this year's presidential elections. The Electoral Court says it wanted the agreement to help fight false content related to the electoral count and the voting system, and those involved in the process. Now, Telegram was the last remaining messaging and social network app to enter the agreement. Brazil's Supreme Court suspended Telegram last week for non-compliance, but that measure was revoked. President Jair Bolsonaro is up for re-election. A new Florida law adds financial learning to high school education requirements. Governor Ron DeSantis signed the new regulation requiring Florida high school students to pass a financial literacy class before graduating. The course is a half-credit course in personal financial literacy and money management, and it teaches basics in how to manage a bank account, how to balance a checkbook, how to make a loan application, and even how to calculate your federal taxes. Florida is now the 11th state to require financial literacy for high school graduation. Sad night for the world of rock. Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins has died. The band announced the news Friday night on social media. Hawkins joined the band in 1997. He was also inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by Paul McCartney with the Foo Fighters last year. Foo Fighters were currently in Colombia for their South American tour and announced upcoming performances in Brazil and at the Grammys in early April. The musician was only 50 years old and left behind a wife and 3 children. The cause of death has not yet been determined. A shooting at a mall in Illinois leaves 1 person dead. The violence unfolding at fashion outlets of Chicago and Rosemont. The shooting was said to have taken place inside the mall. 2 other people were shot and taken to the hospital in critical condition. A 3rd person who was shot was said to have fled the scene. The investigation into the shooting is ongoing at this time. Authorities in Orange County, Florida are investigating the death of a teenager Thursday night on an amusement park ride. The 14-year-old fell from the Orlando Free Fall ride, which is advertised as the world's tallest freestanding drop tower. Kelsey Thorid has the latest on the investigation.
One day after tragedy struck Icon Park's freefall ride, many questions still remain about how a 14-year-old boy could have fallen off to his death.
And based on all of our preliminary investigation and information, it appears to be a terrible tragedy, but our investigation is still open.
The victim, identified as 14-year-old Tyree Sampson, was here on vacation from Missouri. The sheriff's office says he and a few friends got on the ride just after 11 p.m. Minutes later, horror.
Sir, tell me exactly what happened.
The ride was going, and during the middle of the ride, the guy just came off.
A video briefly posted to social media captured the terrifying incident and appears to show Sampson falling out of his seat. The spokesperson for the ride says all seats are programmed to lock before the ride starts.
So the harnesses have to lock in, and if they have to lock, or else the ride will not operate. So this is what we're looking into.
The Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs will be the ones to determine what happened. Investigators were already out Friday afternoon examining the ride. The sheriff says their report will determine whether or not criminal charges will be filed.
Our role here is to determine whether or not the death that we're investigating was an accident or not. And so that's what we're in the middle of.
The victim was an honor roll student and an aspiring athlete who was visiting Orlando with his football team over spring break. In the meantime, the 430-foot-tall drop tower attraction has been closed until further notice. Later on the news at 10, how some servers at a restaurant in Kansas were rewarded for their hard work. And we're going to take a look at the forecast. It's looking like a nice weekend, but changes on the way. All of that and more next.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty good day for us today. Temperatures not bad. We did go into lower 60s for highs, which is pretty good, pretty close to where we should be. Overall, we're going to start to warm up over the next couple days. Now, Sunday is going to be very similar to what we saw today, but then it really steps up by the time we head into Monday and Tuesday. All right, thunderstorm chances. This is going to be late Tuesday. Some of these storms could be strong, possibly severe. We're getting into that time of the year, so we need to watch that. Cooling down late next week. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast. I have it week by week on the month-long blog. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. All the way out until, gosh, third week of May. Saturday evening, parking lot's full, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort looks pretty good. We have clear skies across the region. Allergies, though, have been creeping up, of course. It's spring, so on a scale of 1 to 10, today's a 9, tomorrow's a 7. Main allergies, tree allergies, juniper, elm, maple have been really high on the allergies over the past couple days. Zooming in, temps for us today, most of us went into lower 60s. We had some clouds during the morning hours, and then we broke out and pretty much clear skies throughout the evening, so it actually turned out to be a really nice afternoon. We are dropping back upper 40s to near 50 degrees, but it looks okay. The winds are kind of light out of the north. They're going to slowly shift out of the east by the time we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. 7th, range line outside looks good, sitting at 50, pretty much clear skies. Humidity is low at about 43%. And any clouds we had earlier today, these are pretty much gone. So clear skies for the next several hours. And then we do have this weak little wave right across South Dakota and parts of Nebraska. This is going to slide in. This will give us some clouds by the time we head into the daytime hours tomorrow. But overall, that's about all it's going to do. Here's our next storm system. You can see that little spin right off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. That area of low pressure will start to roll in by the time we head into late Tuesday. All right, let's go through time for us tonight. Clouds increase late. See a random sprinkle early tomorrow morning. Then sunshine. The rest of the day looks pretty good. Very similar to what we saw today. 57 by noon. High temp 62. Easterly winds at about 10 to 15. Tomorrow night, okay, still we're going to be dodging in and out of some clouds. And then as we go into Monday, it looks pretty good. We start to really warm up as we go into the mid 70s during the afternoon. So Monday looks good. Tuesday's also going to be fairly warm, 75 to about 80 degrees. Thunderstorms get going especially along the I-44 corridor. This is going to be Tuesday evening, but some of these storms could be strong, possibly severe. So we got to watch that. Some heavy amounts of rain into Wednesday morning, and then we get into cooler showers by the time Wednesday rolls around. Tomorrow looks great. 62, 75 on Monday, 78 on Tuesday, cooling back down a little bit late next week. Some rain chances on Friday and Saturday.
Certainly looking forward to this forecast. You know, we were talking before, thunderstorms, a nice thing. We're getting back into that season.
Yeah, so. April and May are our big months.
Yeah, I love that smell and I love that feeling of when they're coming in.
Well, it's all smoky outside now.
Yeah, right now it is, that's for sure. I do not love that smell or that feeling.
I know.
Doug, thank you so much. Starting the sports now, Danny Turner joining us. Missouri Southern coming off a win over Emporia State.
Back on the field today for a chance to clinch the series. And Pittsburgh State in a similar situation, looking for their second straight win against Fort Hays. We've got all that and more coming up. Pitt State baseball is in the middle of a series with Fort Hays State. The Gorillas got off to a good start on Friday, winning the series opener 14-1. Back on the field for Game 2, Cade Clemens gets it going with a base hit through the left side. Caleb Carr scores for the first run of the game. A few batters later, Caden Fowler bunts it down the first baseline. Clemens comes home, Gorillas up 4-0 after 2 innings. Peyton Ingalls on the mound for Pitt State. He pitches 5 2/3 innings, allowing 1 run and striking out 7. Later in the 6th, 1 on for Brett Daly. He puts this one out of the park, 2-run home run for Daly. Pitt leads 6-1. Next inning, Gorillas add 2 more. Carr finds grass in left center. 2 score off the double. Pitt State clinches the series today, winning 10-5. Pitt State softball is looking to get back on track after losing a pair of games to Rogers State. The Gorillas are on the road against Northeastern State today. Neither game goes their way. Northeastern State's Gail Young pitches a no-hitter in Game 1. The Riverhawks win 4-0, and then they take Game 2, 7-5. Missouri Southern kicking off a series with Emporia State on Friday. The Lions took Game 1 6-2. They're back in action today with a chance to clinch the series. Southern takes care of Emporia State in 7 innings, winning 15-2. The game starts with a 7-run first inning for the Lions. The bats stay hot the rest of the way. Tragan Parker hits a 3-run home run. Jordan Fitzpatrick gets 2 hits and drives in 3. Logan Van Way goes 6 innings with 10 strikeouts. And the Lions go for the sweep tomorrow at 1 p.m. Lions softball up against 4th-ranked Rogers State today. 2 games. Southern drops them both 1-0 and then 6-3. The Lions are back in action at home on Friday. McDonald County is 3-1 to start the season. The Mustangs play their first home game today on their brand new turf field. McDonald County aiming for their 4th straight win against Carl Junction. Scoreless in the 3rd. Mustangs get a hit up the middle. Cole Martin scores. That makes it 1-0. Later, McDonald County back up to bat in the 6th. Levi Helm touches home plate after he hits a solo home run. Makes it a 2-0 ball game. Final chance here for Carl Junction, but the Mustangs get the out at second. That's the final out of the game. McDonald County gets it done in their home opener, beating CJ 2-0. It's down to the final 8 teams in the men's NCAA basketball tournament. Arkansas is one of those teams. The Razorbacks are coming off a big win over number 1 ranked Gonzaga. Today they face 2-seeded Duke. The Blue Devils have the lead 45-33 at half. Kansas is on the other side of the bracket. The Jayhawks are the only 1 seed remaining. They hit the floor tomorrow against 10th-ranked Miami. Kansas is 6-point favorites. That game will tip off at 1:20 p.m. on CBS. That's a look at sports. We're back after this.
A group of servers at a tavern in Kansas are being rewarded for their hard work. It's all thanks to a large tip from a TikTok star who knows it's a tough job because She used to do it too. Alan Shope has the story.
Are you guys still doing okay?
On a night like Friday, it can be really tough being a server in a place like Johnny's Tavern in Lawrence.
Can I grab that one for you?
A packed house, screaming fans, and waiters and waitresses doing all they can to keep folks happy and refreshed.
Oh, it's really wild.
But on this night, the surprise was on them.
We are going to tip the entire staff $50,000.
That's right, a $50,000 tip for all these workers to share.
We've got college students, we've got single parents.
Lexi Burke is a popular TikTok star. She's made a name for herself raising money and traveling to different cities, leaving huge tips like $1,000, even a $5,000 tip one night. She used to be a server and she knows it's a tough job.
When you are leaving that tip, just pay it forward because it ends up really helping someone out.
To this point, Lexi has given out 168 tips nationwide, totaling more than $300,000 because she says
tips are very important, and even if you've got a small bill, every little bit adds up.
Well, nobody was expecting that at all. That was a huge surprise.
Didn't believe it at first, so I didn't know what was going on.
I can pay my rent this month, which I needed to do.
I think all of us could use a $50,000 tip. You're just excited about that possibility.
Hey, $50,000, that could come in handy.
I think it certainly could. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I could buy a new tie or something. So
maybe a couple.
Maybe two. Maybe even fill up the car with gas.
Yeah.
So.
Well, no, I don't know about that.
Got a final check of that forecast, Doug?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Tomorrow, 62, partly sunny skies. Look at Monday, 75, 78 on Tuesday. Thunderstorms late in the day.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. That is our time for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Thanks for making us part of your night.